going. Hopefully we'll have some people join us live, being that it's Thursday at 10 a.m. Not really expecting it, and that's all good. So if you're watching this on the recording, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, got a bit of an announcement, and this has been, it's interesting. It's a long time in the coming, and I'm kind of going back to, hey Kerry, oh, I'm so glad you're here. Kind of going back to basics, going back to where I started from, going back to my passion. So kind of making it all about me in a way. And I think it's really important. I actually did a quick live on Instagram this morning where I was sharing that I've really learned that motivation is pointless. You can't motivate people. Like, all you can do is inspire, and you've got to start with yourself. You have to start with inspiring yourself to do everything that makes you great. And so I'm going to read something. I've actually printed something out here. This is some writing which it's not really edited, but rock on. I don't care. It's still good. I love it. So I'm going to read something out for you, and then I'll come back and I'll explain not the content, but the purpose. Oh, I know. Thank you, Kerry. So this is an office space that I'm trialing out for a month. I've got a free trial, which is epic. I'm hoping I can hang on to it next month. And one of what I'm doing at the moment is basically working towards being able to keep hold of this. But I've got this space for the next month. I'm going to try and record a whole heap of videos while I've got this space, and hopefully I'll get to hold on to it because it's amazing. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let me read something for you. I'm actually going to read you two excerpts. So first one is from from a short story called Betty and the Narcissist Rat. Now, I'm only going to share a little short snippet of this. Betty was not your typical raven. That is to say, she was totally your typical raven in size, color, and, you know, all that typical raveny type stuff. She was pretty average when it came to the typical raveny type things like flying, scavenging, and whatever else ravens get up to on a typical day. That is to say, she wasn't really typical because she was a little slow on the moves and turns in flight and often found herself out of sync and on her own. She didn't mind though, because Betty was not at all your typical raven when it came to when it came to telling stories. Betty was renowned for her ability to tell a tale of intrigue and passion, to build a bridge with words to a place of fantasy and wonder, and to weave a tapestry of flowing beauty with nothing more than vocal play. She was pretty damn awesome. The other ravens laughed at her clumsy flight, but when she told a story, they listened with respect. She helped the other ravens without want or need while she struggled to eat since, you know, her crappy flight skill meant she was often the last to the feasts. Nevertheless, she was as smart as hell and scavenged enough to keep herself fit enough to tell her stories. So that's excerpt one. I'm going to read another one for you, and I will pre-warn you, this is from Cupid's Guide, so Harvey swears a lot. So this is not me per se. This is the character. His name is Harvey, and this is from Cupid's Guide to Fucking the Rules, book 3 in Cupid's Guide series. I feel normal for the first time in months. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, I get that it's also as sad as fuck, but come on, give me a break. It's been a hell of a year. I think I deserve a little reprise, and if it takes a night of relentless cupiding and getting my ass kicked to feel something, anything, just a hint of reality, I'm all up for that. I would give just about anything to go back to ignorance, to go back to before I was Cupid or crazy. I can't even logic this out. If I'm crazy, then shouldn't the drugs work and help and make this go away so that I can back in the monotonous, predictable, boring expectations of reality? If I'm not crazy, then the only way I can feel anything for me is by breaking the rules. Either way, the reality that each side thinks is theirs is shit. I don't want this. I never did. I just want to go back to being the loser with no expectations from anyone. I want to go back to being nothing and everyone knowing that that's all I could be. Now, The reason I shared those two excerpts with you is because they're both metaphorical fiction. And so this is the announcement that I have for you guys. For the last year, I've worked with people primarily in business. I've had the joy of working with a couple of people that did metaphorical fiction and wrote metaphorical fiction. And I'll explain a little bit more about it in a moment. But I've primarily worked with business people writing nonfiction, and you can see over my shoulder, the nonfiction books there that I've written. Right now, Your Business Demands It's nonfiction. The Human Concept, The Science of Awareness is nonfiction. So I want to be really clear. Actually, I enjoy nonfiction. I do. But my passion is fiction. And it's interesting. I don't have any of my fiction books here, but this is the office space. These are actually books that I've donated to the office. So I haven't donated my fiction ones here. That's an interesting, I'll have to think about why that is. So anyway, point is, I love fiction. And I've worked with businesses because, and this is the hilarious part about it, I was told that was the smart move. Kerry, the old Karen Harvey, the new Karen Betty. Oh, Kerry, no, actually not. That's hilarious. But thank you for asking that. I will go into the metaphorical explanation, not fully the explanation, but I'll give you a bit of a hint on that in a moment. So yeah, first of all, just to kind of outline the journey, I was told that I should, and it made sense because I'd heard so many people, particularly in the coaching world, say, I want to write a book, and people were coming to me and asking me how they should do that. So it completely made sense for me at the time to work with people who didn't know how to write a book and to give them the steps to write the book. Now, what's happened is I'm at the stage now where I've created all the resources. It's all there. So if somebody who wants to write a nonfiction book, the steps are there. It's done. So for me, and I'm going to choose my words really carefully, because remember that this is from my side. This is from me as a writer, having done this for 35 plus years. I don't have a challenge in working with businesses. There's the mindset challenge, but for me, because yes, I'm a trained coach, but it's not the area where I'm passionate. So, and I said this just a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh my God, I need to get into mindset. Maybe I need to go back to coaching. Maybe that's where I need to be. And I had to pull myself back from that and go, no, my passion is writing. I should be doing that. My passion is fiction. I should be doing that. Now, here's the beauty though. Here's how it all comes together so perfectly and fantastically. The reason I shared these is because it's metaphorical fiction. Now, for a lot of you coaches out there, you've been told how powerful metaphors are. Now take a metaphor and put it into a book format. Can you imagine the power? Now think about every book that you've read and tell me, have you been more impacted from a fictional story or more impacted from non-fiction, where it's telling you what to do and how to overcome this and blah, blah, blah. So even my books over here, they should not be as impactful as my metaphorical fiction, which is a book which is a metaphor. So Cupid's Guide, and I've said this to quite a few people, so I don't think I'm going to really, kind of shock anyone or go, oh no, I didn't expect that. The Cupid's Guide 12-book series is the journey to self-love. It is a metaphor for the journey to self-love. He's currently in book 3. So right now he's at that stage where he's kind of like going, something's going to change. This is what's happening to him at the moment on the journey to self-love. So the piece that I just read for you from Cupid's Guide to Fucking the Rules is because he is at that stage where he's just going through the process of realizing that maybe he's worth more than he's given himself credit for. So that piece right there is him having that moment of going, it was so much easier when I didn't know there was more. But you can't turn back. Hey, Tony, how are you? So the piece about the first one that I read with Betty is slightly different. And so, Kerry, I love the question that you asked, Harvey me before and Betty me now. No, not at all. So Harvey is me still. Betty is me still, because it's always a journey. So, and actually that's good. I'll go into that a little bit more. So the one with Betty that I started writing was around a really difficult situation and a difficult interaction, and I'll leave it at that I had recently. And I was struggling to put my feelings into words and to explain it to my mentor. So I said, you know what? I'll write you a story. And so I wrote him a story, and it's an adult children's story. So it's about this pack of ravens and this one particular raven, and she meets this rat who I won't go into it, but it's because this is not something for me to share. This is between me and my mentor. I wrote it specifically for him, so it's not something that I'll share out to everyone because it does get quite intense. But it was a way for me, through metaphorical fiction, to explore how I was feeling and to explore the situation. And when he read it, he said, now I get it. Now I understand what was happening. Now I understand how you were feeling. That's the power of metaphorical fiction. Now, one of my favorite metaphorical fiction writers, which for a lot of people, you wouldn't see him this way, is Douglas Adams. He wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Hey, Kylie, how are you? He wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, when you look at his book on the surface, and this is very much like Cupid's Guide, when you look at the book on the surface, it's just this fun hilarity, like, this makes no sense, what's going on, this guy's crazy. But when you look deeper, when you look into the metaphorical fictional tale that's being told in, for example, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, there's so much more to it. There's so much social commentary. There's so much human behavior that is explored in that. And here's the beauty, that works on a subconscious level. So Cupid's Guide, same thing. I'm very influenced by Douglas Adams, by the way. So Cupid's Guide, on the surface, it's this dark comedy and it's hilarious and it's like, this guy, what is wrong with this person? Like, is he crazy? Is he not? But on the deeper level, at the subconscious level, he's going through the journey to self-love. So it's metaphorical fiction. Now, Amy did a metaphorical fiction, Amy Taylor, in the 90-Day Challenge, which, you know what, I'm really impressed by anyone who writes fiction in the 90-Day Challenge, and I've done it, so, you know, impressed with self too. But it's a tougher gig than just doing nonfiction. It really is, and that's cool. It's more, well, I find it more fun too, but that's just me. So she wrote a metaphorical fiction, and hers was a journey that kind of overlaid her own, and then she created a character. So the character was bringing you through the journey. The character was going through all the different levels of growth. Now, Yen is doing the same thing. Yen Jen is actually writing a metaphorical fiction right now, and I'm hoping that he's going to jump on. If not, I'll do another live when he's available, because I want to speak to him about it, because we've done some really great work with characterization. Here's the beauty of writing metaphorical fiction. You cannot create a character that does not represent a part of you or something that you've experienced. Now, let me just frame that up. I write horror. I'm not saying I've gone out and stabbed a bunch of people to be able to write that, but the feelings behind the processes are feelings I understand and I've experienced. You can't create something that you've never had any thought, experience, or understanding of. And it could be simply seeing something on TV and having an emotional response to that. That gives you an understanding of it. So when you're creating a character in metaphorical fiction, it's still going to be part of you. So Harvey, for example, in Cupid's Guide, I call him a douche. I'm like, I love him so much, but he's a douche. He's an asshole. I just want to smack him down. But I love him deeply because he is that part of me that is fighting himself still. He is that part of me that wants to be loved and doesn't know how to do it for himself yet. He is that part of me that he's that part of me that wants to be great, but he's too busy hiding. There's some vulnerability for you. But all of those things come through Harvey. So as I'm writing his story and his journey to self-love, I'm exploring that for myself. And because I'm exploring that for myself and putting it in the words I write, then yes, anyone who reads it is subconsciously going to experience that journey. That is so much more powerful. That is so much more impactful than this is the journey to self-love. You should do this and then you should do this. Yeah. So that's the big announcement. Well, okay, let me kind of just let you know directly what the big announcement is. The big announcement is I'm going back to my passion, baby. I'm going back to fiction. I'm going back to what matters most to me. And then I had a very interesting experience on the bus over here. So I caught the bus over to the office today. And I got on, and at the I think it was like the next stop, this young man got on, and he had a cane, so obviously vision was not good, and he obviously had some mental incapacitation, whatever. But he sat down. He's like, "Hi, how you going?" I said, "Awesome. How are you?" And started chatting, and he's like, "Oh, you're going to work?" And I said, "Sort of. I'm going to my office." He's like, "Yeah, what do you do?" And without even thinking about it, I said, "I'm a writer." I didn't say, "Well, I run a business teaching people to write, blah, blah, blah." My automatic response when he said, "What do you do?" was, "I'm a writer." And he said, "What do you write?" And I said, "I write horror." It just flowed out so easily. And in that moment, it clarified for me, I got to get back to me. I got to get back to my passion. Now, having said that, obviously, I want to be able to share what I do with you guys. So through fiction, this is the beauty of metaphorical fiction. And let me just pull back for a second. I believe that all fiction is metaphorical fiction. Pretty much. It's all metaphorical fiction. Because you can't, I don't believe anyway, that you can write fiction without exploring and without experiencing and sharing your journey, which is where the reader gets it on a subconscious level. So your reader resonates with something in the character because, let's face it, even though we're all unique, we're all the same. So this is the beauty of metaphorical fiction. So what I'm doing for me is I'm going back to what I do best. I'm going back to fiction. I'm focusing on Harvey. I've got a couple of non-fictions that are coming out in November, but you know what? I think I'm done with that. I think I've got my non-fiction out of my system. I'm going back to fiction. I'm going back to horror as well. So I'm going to play with Harvey because, rock on. But I also have some things on the back burner that it's time to bring to the front burner and turn up on high. That's my focus. So I'm now asking, who wants to come on that journey? Who wants to learn to write metaphorical fiction or fiction? Call it whatever you want. It's the same thing. I think it's the same thing anyway. Who wants to explore characters? And I'll come back to what I was saying before about you can't create a character that's not part of you. So something that I did with Yen when he was exploring his characters, we went through a whole series of different ways to connect with the character. His character's name is John. So we went through a whole bunch of ways to connect with him and allow the story to be told through John. Now, here's the interesting thing. When I write Cupid's Guide, follow this, I don't write, Harvey writes. All those parts of me that I was talking about before come through and he takes over. And sometimes I'll write something, I'll be like, "Dude, Harvey, no, what are you doing? You can't say that." And I have no control over it. And it's beautiful. And it's intuitive writing, which is the whole thing that we talk about in the Right Now program. So my question is, Who wants to play? Who wants to learn how to write? I'm not talking now about learning how to put a bunch of words together, publish a book, sell it, market it. I'm not talking about that. I'm now talking about who wants to learn to play with words, to create characters, to build plots, to create a hero's journey. Oh, and let me just mention, I know a lot of people have heard of hero's journey, and it's interesting that a lot of people don't realize hero's journey is a writing tool. That's where it originated from. It is a tool for writing and for scripting. That's where it originated from, not from the coaching world. So, which is interesting. It's used in the coaching world, though, because it's a fantastic model. So, who wants to learn how to create a story, how to possibly fictionalize their own life to share it in that way? Because if writing your story is scary, write somebody else's. Create a character, write it through them. Like Harvey, for me to share the journey of self-love as Harvey is going through, I couldn't do it in the same way that Harvey does. I trust that makes sense. And yes, I speak to him like he's another person, because when Harvey writes, Karen shuts down and Harvey comes through. It's like having multiple personality disorder in the best way possible, because I can completely choose who's coming out and when. So who wants to do that? Now, what I'm doing is I've already got the online resources. We've already got a fictional section. So Yen, Amy, a few others that are in the program, you've got access to those fictional resources, which is characterization tools, character building tools, plotting information, all of those kind of things. The hero's journey mapping, the beat sheet for fictional writing. So for me, I use all of these tools to create my fictional work. So I'm asking you guys, who wants to get on board with that? And here's how it's going to work. I'm just going to have conversations. Let's say 10 sounds good. So the first 10 people that say I'm in, well, let's have a conversation around what I can do for you. It could be mentoring. It could be that we do some kind of retreat or workshops. I actually don't know yet, and that's the beauty of it. At the moment, I'm saying, who's interested? Who wants to do something? Let's get on a phone call, find out what you want to do. We'll talk further about how I can help you, and we'll work it out from there. So I'm in, pop it in there, and let's have a conversation. I'm super excited because after I get off here, I have a few phone calls to businesses to make for training gigs, etc. And then I'm going to be spending the afternoon with Harvey and all day with Harvey tomorrow as well. So I'm very excited to be back to my passion. I really, really am. And I'm actually almost going to get emotional over that. Wow. Give me a moment. Whew. So very excited to get back to my passion. Yeah. And hoping that there's some people out there who want to join me in that. And here's the thing, you know what? If not, that's cool. That's cool. Because that's the other thing I learned this morning, which I mentioned before. It's about inspiration, not motivation. I'm inspiring me, and if I can inspire other people, that's fantastic. But I'm not here to design dreams. I'm here to guide you to them if your dreams are on the same pathway. I trust that makes sense. So let me know. Pop I'm in. Let's chat. And if not, worst case scenario, you know what? My business is going down the tubes, and I'm actually okay with that because I'm doing my passion. So thank you so much. Love you all. And until next time, rock forth with awesomeness.